Hey everyone, Travis here, and we are rapidly approaching the release date of the Apple Vision Pro, and with that, it really made me sit down and think about the Apple products that haven't been touched, refreshed, or updated in quite some time. And there's quite a few of them. There are products all across the product line such as HomePod Mini, Pro Display XDR, and AirPods Max, and many more. So let's get into this list of products that need to be updated. Of course, I don't touch on every single thing, but these are the ones that I think are the ones that deserve it the most. First up is AirPods Max, and this is my most anticipated product on this list. AirPods Max were released in December of 2020, which honestly feels like a time warp. It really does still feel like yesterday. They were released on a post on the Apple newsroom and did not get a keynote release, which was a total surprise out of nowhere product release. And I think the AirPods Max are very awesome, except for a few minor quirks that really could become annoying. Most notably, the very weird case, charging issues and anomalies with charging, and no 3.5mm connection built in. Otherwise, the comfort, design, and sound quality are utterly fantastic. I upgraded from the Sony WH-1000 XM3s, they need to really shorten that name, to the AirPods Max, and I really love them. And the AirPods Max became my primary set of over-ear headphones. And at this point, we are approaching 3+ years old. An update to these could be pretty significant. Now, the things that I'd like to see on these versus what we'll actually get could be different, but I really think that a lot of this really goes in line with the AirPods Pro 2.5 that we got a few months ago. First thing on that list would be the changeover to USB-C from Lightning, as that transition across all of the Apple products, including the accessories, is finally taking place. Next up would be the case for these AirPods, and I really think they gotta ditch that case that came with the AirPods Max regular and offer a superior case option, which I would really like the Apple Vision Pro case or something like it. Speaking of Apple Vision Pro, the days are counting down to when it releases, and I'm getting more and more excited as the days go by. We of course are going to be making a ton of content on that thing, so make sure to subscribe. Last up for the AirPods Max second generation would be the chipset from the AirPods Pro 2.5. This would allow for better sound quality, better noise cancellation, and lossless audio support for the Vision Pro, which I don't necessarily know how you're gonna wear both, but we'll just have to see. And then last up, of course, like anything else, would be a color refresh. Hopefully there's some really cool colors. Something very simple. Maybe something reminiscent of the old iMacs. Transparent would be cool. Now, last up for audio products on this list is the HomePod Mini. HomePod Mini is still a first generation product and never received an upgrade. Now at this point, unless it's an external design refresh, I'm assuming it's just going to be an internal refresh with some different color options. HomePod Mini is another Apple product that released in late 2020, making it 3+ years old. Now I do have a set of stereo HomePod Minis in my bedroom, but I definitely will say that it is not a replacement for the regular HomePod, as the regular HomePod came back, or even something like a competitor's product like the Sonos One SL. I will say the most appealing part of the HomePod Mini is its price point at $99. It makes for a very nice speaker in addition to others in the home, but it also has all the home functionality as well, acting as a HomeKit hub. And I think one of the underutilized features is the ability to use HomePods as speakers for the Apple TV if you don't have a soundbar, and if you have two HomePod Minis, it actually sounds pretty decent. So HomePod Mini is probably just gonna be a minor upgrade, and I would really love a HomePod Max someday to be able to complete the lineup and be able to have multiple HomePods placed throughout your home theater to create an actual Dolby Atmos setup, similar to a Sonos, but one can dream. Next up is a product that I use day in and day out, and that is the Pro Display XDR. Pro Display XDR is a monster 6K 32-inch HDR monitor, and I absolutely love it. And now that Mini LED has taken the crown for the display technology in the MacBook Pros, I really think that it would make for a fantastic monitor, not only making it thinner and lighter, but also less expensive. Pro displays are not cheap whatsoever. Even in the used market, they are still very expensive, but they are a phenomenal monitor, especially if you're using it in a professional photo or video environment. Of course, these displays are on Thunderbolt 3 and using some older technology from 2019, but they're still a great display. But if they got that Mini LED upgrade, I think they could be even better. And I'm still waiting for the day that we slot in another monitor in between the Studio Display and the Pro Display, which would be a Studio Display XDR that would offer the HDR experience at a much lower cost, but we shall see. Next up is the Apple TV, which got an update in 2022, But this one's a little weird. Now, of course, the use case of the Apple TV is primarily streaming video content, which at this point does not require any sort of horsepower because any of the A series chips can do that perfectly. The one thing I would say in terms of giving the Apple TV an upgrade would be one of two things. Apple loves to streamline logistics and make the most out of what they have, so they would probably put the processor in one of the phones in the Apple TV to make that more streamlined, as well as if they wanted to dabble into gaming, bump up the graphics performance. Now, of course, as time has gone on, the Apple TV has been able to play games, but now that the iPhone is getting console level quality games, if they put the A17 Pro in a higher tier Apple TV option, that could actually be a potential option for people playing games like on their PlayStation on their Apple TV. The experience navigating through the UI and even loading content is so much faster and smoother than using built-in apps or something like a Fire Stick. And I think price is the number one reason why the Apple TV isn't in more living rooms, because most people just settle for the built-in apps in their TV, or they go out and buy a cheap Fire Stick and call it a day. But if you haven't used an Apple TV, you're definitely missing out. Even with the most newest, fanciest TVs, I still hook up an Apple TV to watch all my content. So I really think a $30 price drop to the base model, in addition to a chip upgrade, alongside maybe an Apple TV Pro with the A17 Pro chip, could be a really excellent lineup. Now, I made an entire video talking about the fact that Apple did not update the iPad last year at all, which was the first time since the original model launched. So I'm only gonna touch on this quickly as I already had that full video, but basically most of the iPads haven't been updated since 2022, and the iPad Mini hasn't been updated since 2021. I really think the iPad Mini is the first of the bunch that needs an upgrade, but I really want a new iPad Pro. An M3 chip inside the iPad Pro alongside a design refresh would be awesome, and I think this time I'll go for the 12/9 iPad. Last up on the list is the iPhone SE. The last iPhone SE came out in March of 22, and I really think that this product is very appealing. The SE moniker has really brought on the fact that it uses an older design body with a newer model chipset, all doing this at the lowest price point in the entire lineup. So if we look at the last iPhone SE, it had the guts of the iPhone 13, but the body of an iPhone 8. And I think an updated version of the SE with an A16 chip, and even if it kept that iPhone 8 design, would be awesome. And I think this would make the most amount of sense to update this product because Apple no longer sells an iPhone Mini, and it would be perfect for those that don't want a big phone and don't want to spend a lot of money. Not only that, but it would still have the trusty home button with Touch ID, which a lot of people still love. Now, there are other products in the lineup that I didn't touch, like the Mac Mini or the MacBook Air, but those at least got updates last year, and it wasn't that long ago. So ultimately, we'll see where everything progresses after the Apple Vision Pro launch when things settle down with that product and they can move on to talking about other things. What is your most anticipated Apple product update or refresh? Honestly, it's still the AirPods Max for me. Drop a comment down below on your thoughts on this subject. This is Travis, and have a good night.